up and welcome back to another video, guys. With May 4th just a few days away, I wanted to make a quick video to cover all of the different discounts and promos, as well as some of the best ways to reach that $160 price point so you can get the best bang for your buck this May 4th. So leave a like on this video if you are excited, and let's get right on into it. Now to start off, I'll let you know what the promos actually are, and starting off, I'm sure that you already know, with the purchase of $40 or more, you're going to be getting the Millennium Falcon Polybag. This is one that not many people are very hype about, as it's one that, has been on shelves for the last few months at $5 MSRP, but now, you get the option to get it for free. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this one, but as we move on to our next promo, which is the big one for everyone, at $160 with a purchase of $160 or more, you're going to be getting the Camino Training Facility, and this set is just looking so good. Personally, I think it's the second best of the May 4th promos, just behind the Trade Federation Troop Carrier, if we're looking at just the little promo sets, and I think that this one is great, and it's definitely one that I'm going to be trying to get multiple copies of, and I'm sure that a lot of you out there are very excited to get your hands on, so we'll be looking at some of the best ways to actually get your hands on this and be able to get the best bang for your buck. But we also have a bunch of sets that are going to be seeing double points, quadruple points, as well as some discounts like 20 and 15% off. So let's take a quick look at what we have got. I figured that I should also mention that there is going to be a redeemable little coin for 2,500 insider points. It is the Jango Fett Starship coin. Now, personally, I think this should have been another promo like we've seen in previous years with a purchase of $90 or more, and you would have gotten this, like that kind of charm that you've gotten in the past. We got the coin last year, and I think 2 years prior, we got the little Death Star plans. I feel like this would have been perfect in that slot. However, now it is redeemable for points, and personally, I'm not someone that is going to be wasting my redeemable points on this. Normally, I exclusively use those for discounts, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will like this, but personally, it is not for me. But let's move on to some of our double pointed sets. Now, unfortunately, none of the new sets releasing on May 1st are going to have any double VIP points or any discounts, which I do understand. I think LEGO knows they will sell regardless of what is going on with them via like double VIP points or something like that. But it is a little bit disappointing. This is like the big day for buying from LEGO. I feel like most of the other time, it's almost 9 times out of 10 better just to buy from a different retailer. And this is kind of that one time, but I think LEGO knows regardless they are going to sell these sets, and it doesn't matter if they have the double VIP points, but it definitely would have been nice. But as for these sets that actually are going to have double VIP points, first up is the Duel on Peridia, then we have the Crimson Fire Hawk, the Coruscant Guard Gunship, the Ghost and Phantom 2, the Imperial Dropship versus Rebel Scout Speeder, the Desert Skiff, the Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon Battle, the Sith Infiltrator, the Miniscale Home 1, as well as the Miniscale Acclimator, the Dark Millennium Falcon, the Jedi Bob Starfighter, Captain Rex's Y-Wing, the Miniscale Super Star Destroyer, the Imperial Super Star Destroyer, as well as the buildable R2, C-3PO, and also the Clone Trooper and Droid Battle Pack. And you're also going to have some of these helmets, like the Mandalorian helmets, the AT-AT Driver helmets, as well as the Miniscale Millennium Falcon. Now, having double VIP points on this set is definitely a nice addition. However, a lot of the time when looking at these sets and their double VIP points, it's still probably better to get most of them at other retailers because they're actually going to be on deep discounts, like even more than 20% off. Some of these sets you can find for like 30 or even 40% off, especially like that Duel of Peridia I've seen for 50% off at Best Buy. So it definitely just depends, especially if you are trying to hit that promo. That's kind of the only way that I would say buying these sets. However, as we move on to the 4X VIP points, definitely does make it a bit more enticing to purchase these sets from LEGO. Now, the first of these 4X VIP points is going to be the TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup. Then we have the UCS X-Wing, as well as the big one being the UCS Venator, which is great. Not really surprising. Yes, it is a new UCS set, but we've seen in the past that this is something that LEGO has done with their new UCS sets, putting them on 4X VIP points. Now, it's a little surprising that the Jabba's Sail Barge wasn't put on any sort of double VIP point or quadruple VIP point, which is a little bit disappointing, but still that one is being a bit newer than the UCS Venator. But I do think if you haven't picked up the UCS Venator yet, this is probably the best time to do so with 4X VIP points, as well as all of the other promos. But we also have some actual discounts just straight up onto some of these LEGO sets, so let's take a look at that. Now, I'm not 100% sure if these discounts are just going to be straight up discounts on the website and in store, or if they're going to be like those little redeemable coupons that we've had previously. Either way, I am very happy, but starting with our 15% off sets. We have the Miniscale 10F4, as well as the Maz Espa Pod Race Diorama, and also surprisingly, well, not really surprisingly, is the ATTE, which I think is a great set, but once again, I feel like with the ATTE, it is one that you can easily find on deeper clearance in other stores. I saw them just the other day for $85 at Walmart, which is is kind of crazy. So I would recommend looking for that in a different store. But as for these other ones, not really surprising. The mini scale 10-4 as well as the Mazda Padres being ones that I've seen sitting for quite some time, and also ones that probably a bit overpriced in the first place. So LEGO's probably trying to get rid of them. But as we move on to our 20% discount, the big one being the UCS Razor Crest. This one's great. This is one of the best UCS sets in my opinion. Also, it being, coinciding, the Mandalorian movie is going to be coming out, and it did appear in the trailer. So a lot of people are super hyped about that. So if you haven't picked it up, 20% off alongside all these promos, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. I think that 20% off discount is going to be very nice, and I have a feeling this one might sell out on that May 4th promo. Now that we know of all of our different promotions as well as our discounts, I've put together a couple of different ways that you can reach that $160 threshold to maximize your spending power, as well as getting yourself that nice May 4th promo and to take advantage of some of these different deals. Now, the first one is actually my plan that I wanted to share with you. As for my Lego.com order, is going to be the U-Wing for $70, the Revenge of the Sith Brickhead pack for $50, and then an Imperial dropship versus the Rebels as well for the $40. Personally, that's just my plan to drop off at the Lego website, and then I'm going to go in person in the morning on release to get the UCS Slave 1 or the UCS Jango Fett Starship. Now, I've made a couple of other ones. Now, this one having a bit of a Clone Wars theme, I think getting the ARC 170 for $70, the Ahsoka Interceptor for $45, and then the Captain Rex's Y-Wing for $13, and the Clone Battle Pack for $30. And then just to get that $160, unfortunately, you do have to add in that Fennec Shan little keychain at $3 just so you can hit that $160. These little priced things at very low prices are definitely going to be your friend when you're trying to hit these big price points, because if you are off by just a little bit, unfortunately, tax and shipping doesn't count. It's just the total of what you have in your cart. And yes, when looking back at this, a lot of people do think that Ahsoka's Interceptor as well as the ARC 170 are pretty overpriced. However, this would be the time to get them if they are sets that you wanted. Yeah, they're not on a discount, but you're going to be getting those promos. They're definitely going to coincide in the cost and make it worth it, in my opinion, to pick up some of the more expensive sets now versus if you were just to buy them straight up. And this is definitely a good option in my opinion, especially if you are a fan of the Clone Wars. And for the few of you that are sequel fans, there's actually a couple of pretty cool things you can pick up on this release. You have the Kylo Ren's helmet coming in at $70, the Kylo Ren shuttle coming in at $70, and then for that extra $20, you can kind of just throw in whatever you want. But I think the Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack is probably your best option there to hit that $160 to get your promo. And lastly, if you are a fan of the buildable droids and the new releases, I think picking up the buildable chopper for $100 as well as the K2SO for $90 is going to be a pretty good combination. Yes, you are over a bit, and if you are very meticulous about wanting multiple promos, you can probably break this up and do the math for yourself and make it perfect so you can maximize. There's a lot of people out there that will try and make as many orders as possible at $160 so they can get as many promos as they want. Personally, I am only going for 2 copies, one to open up and review and one to keep sealed. I figured it's also worth mentioning that right now is probably the best time to get some of those big sets, especially the UCS Venator on that 4x VIP points is going to be one of the best deals that we have seen so far. 20% off on the Razor Crest is great. I think if you haven't gotten the Razor Crest yet and you want to get it, this is probably your perfect time to do so. You're getting that 20% off as well as both of the promos alongside it, as well as just some of the other stuff like the UCS X-Wing and the other big sets. A lot of them are going to be getting you on that big promo point, and also some of the ones like the Dark Millennium Falcon, if that's one that you wanted. It's still going to get you all of those promos, and now is the perfect time to get it in my opinion. Now there are tons of different ways that you can combine these sets to hit $160. These were just some of my favorite ways and ways that I think is the most efficient, but let me know down below in the comments what your plan for May 4th is and what sets you plan to combine and get to maximize your options to get the promos. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments what your May 4th plan is, what sets you're looking to pick up, and what sets you're going to be passing on, as well as what your favorite deals are. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew, signing out.